You lay down for a few hours and the world just goes crazy. Everything launches.
Everything. Yep. It was funny. I saw a thing this morning because like Claude, Anthropic reset everybody's Claude usage, like everybody's.
Right.
So everyone got new allocations, and in the Reddit threads where people were like, I bet GPT 5.5 is about to launch. 20 minutes later, I was like, look, it did.
Welcome to GCP Bytes, episode number 39 for Friday, the 24th of April, 2026. GCP Bytes is a podcast where we discuss Google Cloud and tech. And I'm your host, Stephen Bancroft. On today's show, it's all about the agents, baby. Firestore and Cloud Run get upgrades. Google builds some new hardware. Plus, everyone has a new model. Find out who in the AI wars. But before we get to any of that, I'd like to introduce the co-host of the show, Dave Wall. How are you, Dave?
I'm just the same regular model, Dave Wall, but I'm good.
No upgrades for you? No point releases for you? And our very own GDE, Ian Brown. How are you, Ian?
No, I'm the old model, mate.
Legacy.
I'm the legacy Ian.
Legacy, running on those old generation TPUs, hey?
Running on sarcasm and caffeine.
Yeah, well, what a fortnight, hey? Like, we go to sleep for a few hours. Just saying, we go to sleep for a few hours, we wake up and everything's changed.
And we did the planning. Last week we did the planning and we get in there and there's like 4 articles.
Yeah, there was. I mean,
There's
even when we
nothing.
did this week's one, on Tuesday, it's like, oh, we got a few things.
It's very quiet, right? Everyone's
don't know
holding
next is about
back.
to happen,
Everyone's
but-
holding back, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll definitely get onto all of that because there's been a few doozies drop in the last sort of 6, 7, 8 hours. But
no, it's nice though, right? Like, it's kind of good to, when we're recording, we got some hot off the presses stuff. We kind of get the live reactions from us too.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, yeah. And of course, I had to go through and summarize some stuff using Gemini, of course, the old Gemini.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. But in the meantime, we've been. Dave, you've crossed the line, Dave. I know you've come to the right side.
He's flopped on the flip.
Yeah. I crossed the Rubicon and then I crossed back.
Yeah. Well, in multiple ways.
The famous double Rubicon.
Oh, that old move.
Yeah. So, last fortnight where I was like, yep, that's it. I'm done with YouTube music, this whole thing. I'm over to Spotify now, and I need to be able to do a family plan. That lasted about 4 days. I was like, you know what? I hate this. I hate Spotify. I don't like the way it does music. I miss my super mix. So like that's it. Okay. We're just going back. I'm back on YouTube music. We've got the plan for 2, because that's me and my wife. I go, then fine. The kids can just use our account. They don't have to have their own thing. I'll worry about that later.
Well, aren't they going to contaminate your algorithm?
It's already like, if this is the world we were living in before.
Right, okay.
It's like, so it's no worse.
There's blow ups.
Frankly,
when
the
my
kids
algorithm gets contaminated. Everyone knows about it. I tell you what.
Yeah, you'll be both. I start seeing some of that nasty pop stuff get into my playlist, and I'm like, oh, what's happened here?
I mean, I can see that you'd be a big. No. Who's No. I'm too old. I can't even keep the names of current Chappelle Roan. There you go. There's one.
Never heard of her.
Don't know.
But no. So no, I'm glad to be back in there. My other major stakeholder, she's also very happy that we're back in YouTube music.
Right.
So you've made your wife happy?
Yeah, that's exactly the case. So I think if it gets to the point where it's like the kids need their own thing, then it's like, fine, I will just have a separate subscription for you, and you guys can be on Spotify, but I'm staying in my Google.
We tried.
Yeah.
When we did this, we went from YouTube, because YouTube Premium, which is what gives you that plan, is hideously expensive. It's like $40-something a month. It's crazy.
For the family one.
Yeah, for the family one. I won't have Matthew contaminating my playlist because he listens to all sorts of weird music that I'm just not interested in.
Of course.
So we were like, well, we're all on.
It's called UK drill, and all the kids are into UK drill. Okay.
No. He's got this weird eclectic mix of. He's got this weird eclectic mix of like, he'll listen to country music, but then he also listens to hip hop.
Oh yeah.
And then he'll throw like an 80s rock ballad in there somewhere as well. Like he's got a pretty eclectic mix of music. I omit the hip hop and I put the metal in, but most of the other stuff I'll listen to as well.
Yep.
But so we flipped from YouTube Music. We went to Apple Music because I was like, well, we're all in the Apple ecosystem. Let's go and put Apple Music Premium on and all that. And then they brought in this feature where they'd start fading songs between each other like you're in a techno disco
like a DJ.
Type. Yeah.
Like, Spotify's got that, but you can switch it on.
Yeah, switch it off. Apparently you can switch it off in Apple Music too, but it doesn't work. So you'll get like halfway through a song and you'll come up to the best bit of the song and it'll start blending into the next song.
And it sounds horrible. Yeah.
And it's like, what the heck is happening to my music? And that lasted about a week before I went, no, I'm done. And we went over to Spotify and I'm like, I hate the interface on this. This interface is the most horrible thing I have ever laid my eyes on. It is just unusable.
I tell you what, if you want to go back to roll your own and you're using Plex, use a thing called Plex Amp.
Yeah.
I re-ripped all my CDs to FLAC, and I do have them all sitting in my Plex library. And with Plex Amp, you get a classic. I'll show you here. You get a classic, this style, nice interface, but it's all your own music.
Yeah, nice.
Streamed via Plex, and you can. The reason I don't use it a lot is because of the casting. You can Chromecast, and none of my amps, only the TV in the living room will support Chromecast.
Right.
I need. This is why I was asking about that streaming amp.
Oh, yeah. Right. You're asking about the WIM amps, yeah.
The WIM amps, yeah.
Well, so okay. I mean, you wouldn't even need the amp, right? You could just go like a WIM Ultra. I mean, a WIM Ultra is pretty high end, but you can go like a WIM Pro or a Pro Plus. Plug them into your existing amps. That'll add all the smarts to it.
Right, that's what I need. Yeah.
There's a whole bunch. In fact, they have these small little light ones as well. There's a lot of things for if you've got. Like obviously you can have the amps if you've got great speakers and you need like really something to drive them and you want the smarts for it. But if you just want to retrofit an older amp, they've got a lot of things in the range. You can cast them all, but you can also do all like for people who are like big in Sonos and having like all their different zones, you can do that with WIM as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right.
And in fact, there's a crowd down here, Selby Acoustics, Selby Audio.
I know, so I bought stuff from them. Yeah. All this acoustic treatment in this room was all bought from Selby, so I'm quite familiar with
so
it.
They sell a bunch of packs on their site, which is like WIM, but for like different rooms. It's like WIM Garage, and it has like a particular device that you would use, like in that range, and a set of speakers that are maybe a bit more hard wearing, or like WIM patio, and it's like things that are outdoor rated, or like a bedroom kind of setup for teenagers. It's a nice, smart little way of setting it up. Pretty cool.
So with the Plex media thing on the Plex amp, can you download? So like on our road trip that we just did, we didn't have cell coverage for more than half of it. Like remote New South Wales. Can you download your playlists onto your phone so that you can just play them?
Yes, you can.
Cool.
Yes, you can.
Okay, sweet.
There's the download button right there.
Yeah, nice.
Right.
Happy with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, you can.
I will have to have a look into that because we have got about 6 boxes of CDs sitting in the shed.
Yeah, and you know what? You're on my Plex server, aren't you? I can share my music with you, and you can see my music archive.
Oh, sweet. And I'll do the same.
Yeah, there you go. AC/DC, rock or bust. That'd be up your alley, I'm sure.
Nice. Yep.
All right. So
No, very nice.
Little tangent there, but I'm definitely going to get one of those receivers. But what else we've been playing with here? We've got a couple of little AI things we've been tinkering around with here. Now, Paperclip AI, Dave, tell us all about that.
Yeah, okay. So,
and this sort of dovetails into your adventures with Claude too, I bet.
Correct. Yeah. So, and I think last podcast I was talking about how I was experimenting with OpenClaw, so this I've been having a go at this whole agentic way of doing things, as opposed to just me interacting with Gemini or whatever at the time, and asking it to do one thing or give me an output that then I go and use it. Go make me a script to do this, and then I have to experiment and then feed back hey, this part didn't work, I got this error. I was like, okay, there's definitely a better way of doing this. So last fortnight I was experimenting with OpenClaw, and I'd built a little sandbox so I could go and drown it if I needed to. And that sort of started to get me a bit more comfortable with all right, so I can have an agent and it has its own personality, and I can give it certain jobs to do, and then I can have it start working with sub-agents. I want it to start issuing out jobs. And then I found this platform called Paperclip. Paperclip.ai, I think is the website.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is a whole framework and way of building,
of basically doing that work for you.
Well, yeah, it is for zero employee companies, right? Now, I'm not using this in anger. I definitely set it up and had a bit of a go with it. It does some pretty cool stuff, you can, it's not a model itself. It is, you plug in different models and you can use whatever models you want, right? You might be like when you first create the company and the first employee, which is a model, right, is your CEO, right? And the kind of job description for the CEO is that it's not allowed to actually do anything itself. The only thing it's allowed to do is take requests from the board, which is you, right?
Yeah, right.
And it literally has a Kanban board. But yeah, so it takes guidance from the board. It's allowed to work out tasks that need to be done to achieve the board's goals, and it's allowed to hire people.
Right.
Right. And people being other agents. Right. And so it's pretty funky. It definitely, I found it built out a whole org structure of different agents. So I had it wanted to create a CTO and a CMO and then a testing team, and it can do all of that. The issues I was having was it was sort of, I guess, more kind of organizational theater than anything. Yes, I could definitely see it creating tickets and issuing them off, and things were commenting between the different agents, but I was struggling with getting it to actually produce an outcome for me.
Right.
So, but I think if I spend a bit more time with it, I think that would be fine, right? But it definitely is set up so you can have different models at different points. So you might be my CEO is going to be driven by Opus 4.7. Right? He's a big, expensive model. Yeah. I want him to really think through what needs to be happening and dishing things out. And then you can have different models at different points, and you can have OpenClaw fed in. It integrates with everything else pretty well,
right.
Which is kind of cool, right? Because then you'd be great, I want to have my CTO, or maybe in the developer team, I just want something using Codex, right, or SWE.
Yeah, a simpler task you could just give to Gemini or whatever. Yeah.
Correct, right? You, if you're doing something that is really kind of baseline or long running, and you don't want to blow through all your token allocation, schlep this one off to our self-hosted Olama instances, right? So that's kind of cool. I can see merit in it. I would probably need to spend more than about a week actually bolting it together, though.
And this is what I was thinking when I was setting up OpenClaw. I was thinking this is exactly what I was trying to do in OpenClaw, but this gives you a framework to do that. You don't have to go out and then set up a Jira board and then this different link them all into Discords, and then blah blah. This kind of
this is out of the box.
Gives you all of that out of the box, yeah.
Because and that's in fact actually where it came to. Is I had all these agents. I've got them in Discord. I'm like, how do I make the work visible? I really want to stitch them into Kanban. What's the best thing to do? And someone recommended Paperclip. I'm like, actually. I just spin it around. I start with the Kanban board, and then I can let it dish out jobs to the different agents.
This leans into that whole spec thing you were talking about, Ian. You set your spec up first, and then you have your agents build to your spec. They build sort of into the testing and into the spec as per the spec, right? Which a very interesting point was brought up on that. I read or heard a very interesting point about that. We spend a lot of time, evolving agile, where you'd kind of just get in and you just start coding, right? And the idea behind that was to get rid of a lot of this paperwork and extra speccing and a lot of the
waterfall,
the guff up front, right? Just get in and do it. Have we regressed somewhat? Because now we're in a world now where you've got to spend a lot of time basically creating a prompt, which is your spec, your software spec, and you've got to be very detailed and very precise about that. And that's a big chunk of documentation. Yeah, you give it to your model, it goes away and does it. But in the meantime, you spend all this effort, which is kind of the opposite of agile, right?
I suppose it's turning it around on its head, though. It's that where previously the constraint was coders who could get in and do the work. Well, now that's not so much the case, right? Like we've seen that AI can be pretty good at doing bulk coding. Yes, you need to build frameworks around it. You need to have things to check in. You have the testing, but it's pretty good at doing that kind of work as long as you feed it the right input.
That's
so
right.
it pivots it around. You're like, okay, well, if I spend the time, and I can use an AI to help me write the spec, right? I don't have to do that all myself, right? So I can work with an AI to build out the spec, massage it to a point I'm happy with, and then I can schlep that off to 20 agents to go and and hack away at it.
Yeah. And we'll see later that GPT 5.5 is actually quite good at doing this, right? But if you're doing that, you might want to save your tokens. And there's a new skill that I came across called Caveman. Why use many token when few tokens do trick? Right? That's basically what it is.
Love it.
Basically what this skill does is tell your thinking models, or any model really, to use less words. Yep. Right? You can achieve the same thing, use less words, okay? That's all it is, and they're talking about 71% less, up to 71% less, saving in money due to less
output tokens
due to less being used.
It also does input token compression as well, which saves you. Well, it says in the overview here about 46% of your input tokens. And given that Gemini charges you on both sides of that.
Yep. It'll summarize your input. So, really good skill to have. I did install it in one of my Gemini instances. I can't tell you if it's had much of an effect yet because it's a work account.
I did see a similar pivot of this rather than Caveman, but it was to use for anyone who's seen Project Hail Mary, the lexicon of one of the characters in that show. I've seen that movie. So, amaze.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Love it.
Haven't seen that yet, but I'm hearing good things about it. Actually, Andy Weir, he's the guy that wrote The Martian as well. So, excellent book.
Okay.
The book, it's fantastic. And he wrote Hail Mary as well. He one of his things is, this is a big tangent, but he makes the drama the situation itself, whereas most writers will make the drama like people. They'll try and make a drama out of other people, but in space, in science fiction, it doesn't have to be. It's the situation, right? Like, we're on Mars, we've got a massive problem. That's the drama, right? It's real.
Yeah.
Makes it more real.
Yeah. I like that. Like while it's not pure hard sci-fi, it is definitely like kind of hard sci-fi adjacent. All right, there's not too much hand waving going on.
It's a really good movie for those who like a bit of a happy ending story, but don't mind a little bit of sci-fi as well.
Right.
It really is.
No spoilers. Haven't seen it yet.
No spoilers.
But like The Martian, The Martian was genuinely funny in parts.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Right. It's similar in that. Right. You're like, okay, this is a serious situation's going on, but I'm laughing.
But you got to have your comic relief, right?
Yeah. It's sad in parts where it needs to be. So be prepared. Bring the tissues.
Oh, okay. Well, in amongst all of that, I managed to fit in finishing machine learning engineer path in Google Skills.
Nice.
Now, did I understand all of it? No. Could I sit the exam right now? Probably not. Am I going to have to go back and review a lot of it? Yes. Wow. It was a real tangent from what I'm used to working with. And they go deep. On some of the topics. How tenses work. The statistics around
how do they work, Banky?
It's a mathematical construct, right? It's basically an array, right? A two-dimensional array, and TPUs implement that in ASIC. That's why TPUs are so much quicker, right? How quantization works and how to test the whole testing of models, things, make sure they're valid and make sure there's no bias in models. And there's a lot in there. And a lot of it honestly went over my head. And I'm really going to have to go back and review some of that. But I'll know what I need to review because I'm going to have to sit down when I get some chance next week and do the sample questions for the exam. See how I go if I can get that one.
Oh, very nice.
I on the finishing of Google Skills, I finished the mainframe modernization path in Google Skills.
I like that it's like the two sides here. We got like the machine learning engineer, it's like real cutting, and then it's like mainframe something like.
Well, someone's got to get them off it.
Someone's got to modify it.
Yeah, 100%, right.
I've done a few of those ones as well, but I'm kind of caught up in the whole AI hubbub at the moment.
Well, the mainframe mod one is very much an AI play. So they use AI to refactor the mainframe languages, the very common mainframe languages, your COBOL, Fortran, PL1 sort of stuff, into modern languages that you can deploy on containers and all sorts of other stuff. So the idea is that you take a mainframe and you deploy it to Kubernetes.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
and the bit in the middle is refactoring all the code.
Right. Very
and you're right, Ian. And it's a prime candidate for like this is bulk coding work.
Yep.
Right, and we know what it does currently. We know what the inputs and we know what the outputs look like. So you can start building your tests around it.
And literally, that's the process: is you analyze what the mainframe does, like all the different applications it's got, and you pick one of those bundles of applications, you modernize that to a modern language, and then you run them side by side and compare the outputs.
Right,
and if they're producing the same output, that one goes into prod.
Right. So it's a strangler pattern, effectively.
Yeah, literally.
On the mainframe,
yeah.
And is this what? Well, I know. I'm going to ask a question I know the answer to. Firestore and VMware data stores using Terraform.
Yeah. So Filestore. So we've been able to mount a Filestore volume as a VMware data store for a couple of years now. We've never been able to do it in Terraform or on the CLI or anything like that. You've always had to create your Filestore, create your PSA peerings, all that sort of stuff, and then submit a ticket to Google support, who you go around in circles for about a week and they eventually mount it.
Yeah, it was suspicious hard for support to do it.
It was stupid. It was crazy hard.
They just didn't understand it, or
I don't know. The documentation was not good. The documentation is a lot better now, and I mean, the documentation you can actually follow and get a working Filestore volume mounted as a data store. You can't do that in Terraform, though, because there is no Terraform mention in the doco.
The API is just not there.
No, the API is there because that's how they get you to mount the Filestore volume.
Okay.
Via a curl call to the API.
Why has no one updated the provider to do this?
No, the provider is updated. There is no documentation on how to use the provider to do it.
Okay.
But the provider has only been updated like in the last
two months.
2 months?
2 months. Yeah. So what I did during the week was we got Filestore up and running for our production GCVE cluster, and I attempted to mount it. I'd gone through the code and gone, right, well, we're mounting Filestore as a data store, so theoretically that's the Google VMware data store thing, and there's a Filestore block there. Let's use that. No, that's only half of it. So we went round and round with support a few times, and as it turns out, you've actually got to add it into the cluster configuration as well. So once you've got those two pieces in there, then it will mount. Now, we don't have the second bit in because we created the cluster in a different way. We used a module called GCVE Stretch PC, and it automatically creates a cluster. But now I've got to import that cluster into Terraform so that I can modify it and...
Yeah, it sort of seems like what happened in the earlier version of the provider is that while you could build out the private cloud, which was great, and yes, it would pull the private cloud into state, it wasn't capturing all like the cluster, like the subcomponents inside and bringing them in. Yeah. So even though technically the entirety of the private cloud is under control, the subcomponents of it.
It took a while to develop that.
Yeah. So it is there now. I have asked Sinduri, who's the tech manager in Google support, to update the docs to include the how to use this in Terraform. And I've given him example code of what we've done. And he's just going to fill out the bits that need to be added in order to make it work.
Look at you guys on the bleeding edge.
Always, mate.
Well,
always.
They haven't written the code for the stuff you're trying to do.
That's two bleeding edges now that we've done. Because I wrote the provider for the inter-VLAN guest routing.
Yes.
In Terraform, and now we're using the bleeding edge of the Filestore as a VMware data store. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sure the world's going to thank you for that when it's when it's functional.
When someone else comes to do it.
What else we got here? Cloud bills, FinOps.
Yeah.
FinOps.
So, okay, I get hundreds of emails every day. One of the ones that stood out for me was this D-Zone article about FinOps for engineers. So, we look at when you're deploying, like writing software, you write your software, you deploy it, you're monitoring your latency, your request times, all that, like your round trips, everything. And the minute something spikes, like you end up with like a 20% increase in request latency, you're like, oh, hang on, what the hell's going on here? And you go and look at it. Nobody really looks at hey, we're deploying this thing and now the Cloud Run instance is now going to cost us an extra $20 a month, or, we're smashing living daylights out of GKE Autopilot and we've spun up to 1,000 containers and now it's going to cost us an extra $2,000 a month. So that's where the FinOps for engineers comes in, is engineering your pipeline to estimate an increase in cost.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the article's pretty in-depth. The scenario is that your AWS bill, in this case, lands in your inbox at $37,000. It was $29,000. Someone in finance sends out an email to half of engineering going, WTF. Engineering has no idea why the increase in cost, and it inevitably dies with the final email being, we'll have a look. That typical, we'll have a look at it, and no one ever has a look because everybody's too busy.
It stays like that forever in a day. Yep.
Yep. So the idea of this is to treat your cloud spend like your request latency monitoring, right? All cloud resources cost money in very specific ways, and if you can narrow it down to a common, it costs this much per request, then you can estimate how much that bill is going to increase or decrease based on your deployments. So this is a bit of work from New Relic. They've done it cost per API call. They've instrumented it in their pipelines so that they can now say, hey, if you deploy this, your AWS, whatever their EC2, I think they call it, their compute instance, that bill is going to increase by $40 a month.
You're going to add so much to the bill by implementing this.
Yep. So that's the idea of FinOps for engineers.
Yep.
It's a pretty in-depth article on, it doesn't tell you how to do it, it just tells you what to do.
And so this is not a new concept.
No, not at all.
But the way they've implemented it is interesting.
Mm.
Yeah. I suppose it's bringing that cost management left, right? Like how we want to bring security left, we're bringing the FinOps left.
Yeah, that's right. You're making it a responsibility of your engineering team to ensure that, hey, you've got a budget of this much per month to run your service.
Right.
And if you go over it, then, hey, you're probably not going to get to run your service for very long.
Just making that visible, right? Because, I mean, you used like an EC2 instance as an example. You'd be like, okay, you just for reasons chose I don't know the particular memory sizes, right? But you chose a large shape, right, for this instance, just cause, and it's going to add this much to the bill. Like, probably only needs to be a Gravitron instance. Like,
that's right. Yeah.
Let's start low, and then
the example that they give here on how to implement it is a GitHub action that runs on pull requests. It passes the Terraform diffs, the estimated cost of impact proposed changes, and posts a comment. And the comment is something along the lines of, this will increase the monthly spend by approximately $430.
Great.
Yeah. That's good. Pretty simple.
Yeah, nice.
And making it, you're right, Dave, making it visible is the key, right? I can clearly remember a time when I was in level 3 operations and, management was like, we've got to reduce the alarms. But at level 3, we don't have visibility of the alarms. We see tickets that are generated from alarms from the level 2 guys. And I brought up the point, well, why don't we get a visibility of the alarms and we can directly try and minimize them? Oh, wow, what an amazing idea. And guess what? As soon as the level 3 guys got access to the alarming tool and we could see the alarms, they almost all disappeared overnight because those stupid things like, network card flapping or, like machine keeps rebooting or something like that. You push that left, as you say, Dave, and it has bigger impacts. It's more impactful.
I like that idea, Becky. Minimize the alarms by turning them off.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah. Alarm can't fire if it doesn't exist.
Port's flapping. Oh, I'll go and put one command to lock the port. That bang. There's like 20,000 alarms a day gone.
Yeah.
All right. Have you said your piece on Claude, Dave?
Oh yeah, and again, because this is the whole, I'm trying all these different models and things now, and I'd started experimenting with Codex, but that was predominantly to use as like the brain for OpenClaw. Like I was using the GPT API for it, but now for my daily driver, I'm into Claude. The Claude user experience with the way projects work, and we'll cover this a little bit in the next stuff because Google's, cribbing notes from Anthropic on this one. But the way context around projects works within Claude and Claude Code, and I've used a little bit of CoWork, which CoWork is the machine use model. So you actually want it to jump in and, organize your expenses and all that kind of stuff. That's what CoWork's for. But it is a delight to use. I'm a big fan of Claude at the moment. And in fact, I was having this conversation with some Google people the other day, and we were talking about how nice Claude is. And he turned his laptop around, and there was his Claude code prompt, and he'd been working away. I'm like, see, even Google's in on this, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. It's not even specifically the model behind it. It is the user experience for.
It is really good.
Being able to use it, right? So you get like some pretty nice things. If you're doing Claude Code or CoWork, you can, if you've got a machine that's on all the time, like this Mac Mini that I've got here, you can have that, and then you can pair your phone to it with this dispatch protocol, and so you can chat to Claude on your phone, and then you can dispatch the task that will then run on your always on machine.
Right, similar to what you do with OpenClaw.
Yeah, exactly, right. And now in the last week, they've added two new things. One is the ability to do like scheduled tasks, but that they run on Anthropic's infrastructure. So, for example, I was experimenting with every Tuesday morning, just before we do the podcast review, I would like you to go and send me a highlight reel of articles that have come out in the last week. Right? Go do a little bit of that research for me. I want that every Tuesday morning. Right? And so I don't actually need my machine to be on. That will run. So that's a nice, simple thing. But the other thing that they've just come out with is Claude Design, which, oh my God, don't have a look at Figma's stock price, because it is absolutely in the toilet. But Anthropic have been working with Canva, which is a smart play for Canva, because this could eat their lunch if they, I guess it's they don't collaborate on it. But Claude Design is pretty great. And for me, I was able to speak to my marketing person and be like, hey, can you jump into Claude Design, go pull together a branding pack, right, for our company, go put all our assets and the artwork and fonts and everything, give me a design system. And then it lets you, you can then use it to, make slide decks and things, but also if you're doing any coding tasks, especially with front end stuff, it will give you a design system export that you can import straight into Claude Code. Right. So if you're like, hey, I'm spinning up this microsite to do XYZ thing, so let's start with all of your actual branding by default, as opposed to just being a little IT guy's little side project that gets pushed out.
Yeah, and then trying to shoehorn all the branding into it afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool.
I can't keep up. Honestly, there's so many things, so many cool things coming out. I just can't keep up. How am I going to get time to go and play with all these things?
It's a fun time. It's a fun time.
Yeah. And finally, only 45 minutes of banter today. Firestore now integrated with AI Studio.
Yeah. So this came out last month, about mid last month. Firebase is now integrated with Google AI Studio. It's basically they're rolling up some stuff, because you used to have Firebase Studio.
They canned it.
Yep, they canned that, and they rolled that into AI Studio. And then they've sort of, it says in the article here, over the coming weeks, they're rolling out a feature in Firebase Studio that lets you automatically package your code and import it directly into AI Studio. And then for those who use the IDE functionality of Firebase Studio, you can download your code and continue working in anti-gravity. So that integration is there. And if you want to migrate to a different tool, you can export your project by zipping it up and downloading it. And if you're a Firebase Studio to publish your app, you can now publish directly from anti-gravity and AI Studio into Firebase.
Nice. So it's a one-stop shop if you want to build an app.
Yeah, the idea is the idea that I think Google's got here is that AI Studio is the online version of anti-gravity, and they both are going to have very much the same functionality.
Right. All right. Well, I'm exhausted already. I think that could have been a show, but we've got plenty more to come up. So let's move on. Let's get on with the community news. And we don't have any GDG news this week because of Google Cloud Next, which is on as we speak. Yesterday, I got to sit down and I did watch through the entire opening keynote speech. And I got to say, big flashy intro, all the bells and whistles, and then Thomas Kurian walks out and goes, hello. and it was crickets.
And then like somebody was like, "Oh wait, we're supposed to clap. We're supposed to cheer."
And look, it was awkward. The whole thing was a bit awkward. This is just my takeaway on it. Announcing the brand new Google TPUs, which we will get onto. And like there was one clap, woo, in the audience. Oh yeah, we did the same reaction. We need to clap here.
It's
that bit with the TPUs and the presenter is like trying to amp the crowd.
It is, as a presenter myself, it is actually really off-putting when you come out and you do your intro and then you don't get the reaction.
Developers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you come out and you say hello to everybody and you're trying to be upbeat and interesting and all that, and you get crickets out of everybody, and it's like
deadpan.
Oh, damn, tough crowd. This is going to be fun.
And look, I feel really sad to say this. The whole keynote was like that. It felt like that. There's some fantastic stuff in there, and we'll get into some of it, but the crowd just wasn't into it.
Yeah, that's sad.
So look, I took the video and I fed it into Gemini, and it's given me some a couple of takeaways. Clearly, the big shift was towards agentic and agents in the enterprise. No surprises there. So much so that they've rebranded Vertex AI to Agent Platform now. Which just confused the hell out of me, because I've been doing this ML engineering course and it's all Vertex AI, dashboard, blah, 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 Jupyter Notebook, all of that. And now it's all changed. Yep. So I'm like, you're screwing with my muscle memory here. I knew exactly where to go. Now I don't. I talked about scale and adoption. Nearly 75% of Google Cloud customers are now using AI products in production. Internal proof, and 75% of all new Google code is now generated using AI, up from 50% the previous year.
Interesting.
Yeah. In terms of they call their agentic blueprint, we've got the AI hypercomputer, which is purpose-built infrastructure, including these new 8th gen TPUs, which we've got a separate little discussion on those. We've got Agentic Data Cloud, which is this new knowledge catalog. So the idea is you can basically pull all data sources just to suck it all into one model inside an organization.
And it says calls there. So can you pull in call metadata and recording?
I suppose you have your transcripts, right? Cool. If you're transcripting every meet, then
you don't even need to transcript it. You just dump the raw audio in there and it does it for you, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Agentic defense. So we don't need AI in security, do we? Not at all.
No. It'll never be there.
No. And of course, Wiz came out. I mean, how's the timing for that, right? The Wiz deal's done, and they had the head of Wiz come out, and he had a big piece to say about using all AI-driven defense. Gemini's enterprise platform. So they'd been, Gemini's enterprise has been around for a little bit. They're sort of just amping that up a little bit. And the agentic task force. This is all sort of driven from their agent platform now, and having, agentic employees.
Just to sort of dive in a little bit more on that Gemini enterprise piece, because I originally was struggling a little bit of like, hey, what's different in this? Is this just Gemini with a little bit more access to my workspace and stuff? And no, it's not the case, right? Like you can feed a lot into it. It doesn't just have to be workspace. Like, it can be integrated with your Office 365. You can have your SharePoint. You can pull all different sources in. You can have your Salesforce, your SAP, all this context. And what I thought they did a really good job of is, often there'll be presentations where they'll go like, oh, yes, such and such a bank or some financial institution, we use AI to empower our team. And it's great. And you're like, oh, okay, well, they're using it, and give me an example so I can use that and think about in my own business. And that's difficult. But what they did in the demo was they sort of took through, quite rapidly, a plan for like a marketing person. It's like, hey, we want to do a new brand launch. We would ideally like to see, because we're like a furniture company, what's trending right now, aligned with what dead stock have we got across our warehouses? Like, what hasn't been moving? Does any of that kind of fit inside like the aesthetic for, you know, these sort of trending things? Yes, you know, you've got these things that it's sort of picked out. You've got stock, you know, it's there. It hasn't moved for ages. It would align to things that are on trend. Okay, let's start pulling together like updated assets for it. And then,
bit of marketing,
and then it was a whole thing of like, all right, then we want to have like, we're going to need like a microsite to like launch this. So, it, you know, creates a Jira card to go off to the development team. And then she showed the dev team's experience of like the cards come in. So like, okay, I can use Gemini CLI, you know, work on this card. It pulls in all of their coding guidelines, branding, or everything, and spins up the site. And then they're able to then have that come back and be like, oh, great. Now we need like briefing packs for all of our regional distributors.
And she did all this in
like,
about 5 minutes.
Correct, right? And like, yes, she's sped up a little bit of the workflow, but not that much. Like maybe it's half an hour's worth of everything running. Still a really good like end to end. Like this is kind of what I wanted to do. And now I've got a site and I've got things, and we can like, let's try and shift this old stock. And in fact, it was like, it recommended pricing strategies and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Very clever.
So I liked that. I liked that. It's like, this is how you would use it.
Yeah. And that lent into the data cloud stuff as well, the knowledge catalog and having everything available. Yeah, no, that was certainly a good demo. But just getting on with a couple of other things as well. We got the Apple partnership they talked about.
Nice.
This cross cloud lakehouse, which is allows data in AWS and Azure to be you can use them as data lakes now as well. Very cool. And speaking of real world use stuff, Dave, Virgin Cruises, they had Sean White from Team USA there talking about how they use AI in snowboarding. They had a guy from Walmart and YouTube TV demonstrating voice agents handle complex subscriptions. Look, I thought it was cool. I thought there was some great stuff in there, but I still. I can't get over the live crowd response. That was just so dead.
I'm sure they needed to have the applause sign, like the please clap.
But you're right. You're right, though. You may have touched on a point there. I think some of this stuff, people are watching it and trying to understand what it is and what their use case is going to be. It takes a while for it to soak in and for it to actually hit home. So it's not immediate. It's like, I don't quite understand what you explained to me then, and how does it affect me? How can I use it? So
yeah, how do I normally work?
Yeah,
okay. Because if I can see something like, all right, it's not how I normally work. But my brain can make that mental leap, which is a lot easier than saying to like, you know, someone in marketing or a finance person be like, hey, this is a Jupyter notebook. Right? This is how we use Vertex AI. This is how you do, and like,
it's not exciting to them.
What like, the fuck, man?
Like, exactly. I didn't get it. So you don't get that immediate, you know, emotional response. So the crowd's not, up in arms, you know, up in there. You know, this is the new iPod, you know. Oh, it's fantastic. Right? You're not getting that response. Anyway, look, go and watch it if you want. But we'll dive into a couple of little things that came out during that a bit later in the show. But let's move on with the news items. And first news item this week is some people news. Judo Bank hires ex-Bendigo CIO.
It looks like they haven't had a CIO for a couple of years. Like they had one. He departed. He's gone off into consulting. No, we just won't have one.
So Nathalie Moss has joined as their CTO.
She was the CIO. She's become the CTO.
Yeah, she was the interim CIO of Bendigo.
And I think it's public information now that they've just had a big restructure internally.
Yeah. Well, IT News leaked that the day it happened.
The day it happened, yeah.
So she was out before this restructure came about, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, it was like...
You could look on a LinkedIn.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. So Judo Bank last had a CTO in mid-2024, which is a little while ago. And when Ian Walker, I don't know, looks like an Irish name, left after a bit over 2 years. So he's since moved into consulting and advisory, and Nathalie has moved into this to the CTO role. And Judo Bank they are business banking. They don't do consumer banking, from what I've read.
Right.
I might be wrong on that, though.
And, of course, the article says, her leadership will particularly important as we now accelerate the responsible adoption of AI across the bank, unlocking opportunities to enhance customer experience. Of course.
It seems to be a catchphrase, isn't it? The responsible adoption of AI.
AI. Yep. And speaking of not being responsible, South32 Aluminium is suing Siemens.
Yeah.
After a team, this is a cool story, but I'm not quite sure what it's got to do with Google. But anyway, after a steam turbine generator overheated and was effectively destroyed.
So it doesn't have anything to do with Google, but what it does have to do with is the software and testing methodology of companies. So right. South32 runs the Worsley Alumina site in Western Australia. Mm-hmm. It's a big bauxite mining and aluminium refining operation. So what happened was a bit of software got released to one of their PLCs, so programmable logic controllers, that was written by Siemens or a subsidiary of Siemens. So it was a company by the name of Siemens Industrial Turbo Machinery.
SIT.
Yep, SIT. That's it. And there was a piece of code missing that South32 has alleged after their post-incident investigation. It was missing a critical piece of code that would have automatically triggered the generator circuit breaker and stopped the generator from overheating and cooking itself. So essentially what's happened is the generator's got too hot, the internals of it have melted, made it completely unusable. And this isn't like your $300 one that you get from King's. This is like millions and millions of dollars worth of turbine generator to power a mine. Yeah. So what they've said is that, hey, we're suing you because you didn't do your proper testing. In the discovery, Siemens was blocking them from getting access to the documents. So in legal discovery, you get access to documents.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, so Siemens was saying, hey, it's not responsible for the separate corporate entity in relation to non-contractual causes of action. We can't give you the documents because it's not our company. We're Siemens. That's Siemens Industrial Turbo Machinery. We don't have access to that.
Playing games, in other words.
Playing games. Yep. The federal court judge who is hearing it has slammed them, saying they paid insufficient attention to this discovery process and to its obligations, and ordered the company to produce the documents and to pay South32's costs. So this sort of goes to that, if you're releasing software, you need to make sure it's tested, especially if it's in a critical function that could cause a whole heap of destruction.
Yeah. In high risk industries, medical, mines, airlines, defense, space, you got to test this shit.
And that's where it sort of does tie into the AI thing, because we know what Palantir is doing in the US. So, that could be a bad thing as well.
Yeah. Okay, I get it now, Ian. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get on with some Google news. And boy, there ended up being quite a few here. We didn't have many to start with, but then, we've ended up with a few. Intel and Google are doubling down on AI CPUs with an expanded partnership. Intel Corporation has announced an expansion of its long-term partnership with Google Cloud, bringing greater focus to its AI infrastructure. So they're going to be producing infrastructure processing units. I'm not quite sure what IPUs do, and an integration of Intel's Xeon 6 processors into Google data centers.
Oh, okay, right. I think what it is remember how we had like smart NICs? right? This is where we started to shift a lot of the network processing and packet processing from the CPU into the NIC. It looks like this is more like, okay, well, let's also start doing like the HBAs or like all of that guff that comes in. Yeah, basically things that take up PCIe lanes.
Yeah.
All right, but it's a North Bridge.
Right.
Yeah, sort of. So
offloading that to an ASIC. Yeah.
The
Okay.
IPU, I'm just having a look at Intel's IPU adapter E2100. So it's a cloud and enterprise SOC based high performance IPU adapter. So it's got 200 gig Ethernet or one 200 gig Ethernet connectivity channels on it. It's got an SoC and 16 ARM Neoverse N1 cores. So it is literally
Right. So it's a little co-processor, so to speak. It just, you can offload and it can just go away and do little things.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay,
you can.
nice.
It could be good for security air gaps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just reading off the use cases here. So security air gap. So infrastructure tasks are set apart from tenant applications, so you can isolate the two. Storage initiator offload. So when you're providing storage, NVMe, acceleration, all that sort of stuff, you can offload that. Bare metal environment. So single tenant on a host. IPU provides storage virtualization and disaggregation. Which I'm not sure is a word, but you know.
Well, there you go. All right, so Intel's going to be producing these things, and it looks like they're going to be available in the C4 and N4 variants, VM variants.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. You know, it makes things cheaper as well. That'd be good.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually.
Eventually,
right?
Yeah.
I don't think this sort of stuff is going to bring anything down. Now, the Axion instances, like the ARM stuff, sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there was a really interesting talk I went to, it was a couple of years ago now, where there was a company who was running they had a Golang application. It was running on x86 instances in AWS. They recompiled it to run on an ARM instance, whatever AWS's ARM.
Graviton.
There you go. You know it better than me. And they found that they only had to have half the number of instances in order to run this application because it was so much more efficient.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. And they're cheaper instances.
That's where the savings going to be, yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, moving on then with some announcements from Google next. We have introducing Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform, powering the next wave of agents. So we've touched on this a little bit already. They've more or less rebranded Vertex AI into Agent Platform. And just to read out of the blog here, today we're launching Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform, a new comprehensive platform to build, scale, govern, and optimize agents. It's the evolution of Vertex AI, bringing the model selection, model building, and agent building capabilities that customers love, together with new features for agent integration, DevOps, orchestration, and security. And along with that, we've ended up with a couple of new model-y thingies as well. Gemini 3.1 Pro, Gemini 3.1 Flash, Image, Lyra 3, and of course Gemma 4 is thrown in there as well.
And there's a couple of really nice things that I saw. And one on the way the agent platform works is more of a... It's kind of like building these guys as AIs. Sorry, not AIs. Sorry, as employees, and service accounts. It's a bit of a binding. So you can have all these various agents, provisioned in your environment, and everyone can use them. But they have unique identifiers, and everything that they do is tracked and logged, so you can see where they're integrating, where they're using tools, what changes were done, especially because, we're not just always having humans in the loop, right? You're going to have a lot of autonomous things going on. And these unique identifiers help you work that out. You can be like, hey, what took this system down? Oh, okay, yes, I can see there is an agent that did this, right? It wasn't running in Ian's context, right? It wasn't running in Dave's context. It's not using all my access. They have their own access that can be tracked and cut down to certain systems.
Yep.
It's running in evil Ian's context.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty slick. There was another thing in there which is like what is it? It's a Chrome. It's a sidebar in Chrome, so that it's kind of like if you've ever done like robotic process automation, if you want like take this form and then click on this website and click here and click there and do that, you can now do that with Gemini Enterprise. So
it's sort of like Selenium.
Yes. Yeah. So they used an example. It's like, okay, well, we had a doc that was a briefing from like a sales call about like a cloud migration opportunity. And the prompt was just like, hey, take this doc and go and implement, add it into Salesforce CRM as a sales opportunity. And so then it goes off and does that. And you're in the sidebar. It kind of shows you as it's filling out the form, and it might ask you some follow-up questions. You can do that. You put the approvals in. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, nice. I think my thing here, so Google's done this a few times now. They've taken reasonably short, easily rememberable names and made them a word salad. Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform versus Vertex AI. They did the same thing with Actifio Go. It's now Google Cloud Backup and DR.
But it says what it is.
Yeah, I know. It does.
It's a literal name, right? But here's the thing, though. I would have thought Vertex AI as a brand is actually quite embedded now, and it's gone. Like, They have cleaned up the console GUI quite a lot as well. Whereas before you'd open it up and there'd just be like a big long list of stuff. They've sort of split all that out now into models, agents, and notebooks. So I guess it makes that a little more navigable and a bit easier to work with. But I'm surprised they just threw away the Vertex AI.
Yeah, that was good. Like Vertex AI, everybody knew what Vertex AI was.
Yeah,
and now we've got this, which I can only assume that people are going to now shorten to GEEP or GAPE or something weird like that.
Google Agent Platform GAP.
Well, because they had the other one, which was GEAR, which was Google Enterprise Agent Readiness or something like that. It was the GEAR platform, and everybody, no one ever said Google Enterprise Agent Readiness or whatever it was called. We all just called it GEAR.
Yeah.
So
Get on the gear.
Yeah, so I can only assume that this is going to be called GEEP now.
Well, there's one thing for sure. There's a lot of change and, a lot of fluidity in this space at the moment. So it may not be around for very long.
They'll rebrand it.
So if you are doing a little bit of agent platform, you probably want to run it on some TPUs. We've got some new TPUs here. We've got TPU 8T for training and TPU 8I for inference. Split them out because they're different roles. And I immediately thought to myself, well, what would be different about the two? And of course, the big thing is the memory bandwidth when you're doing inferencing, right? And that's one of the big things that they've done. They've put the memory in the TPU and made it far less latent.
Yeah, a bunch of the like math tasks and stuff now can happen straight in. It doesn't have to go across the memory. And
yeah, that's right. So just comparing the TPU 8T obviously is the 8th generation. The previous generation was the Ironwood. The pod size for 8T is roughly the same, 9,600.
Yeah,
up to 9,600. eFlops is kind of almost tripled to 121. Bidirectional state bandwidth has jumped up quite a lot to 19.2 terabytes per chip, and it can scale out. The scale out network bandwidth is now 4x at 400.
Yeah, it scales up to 2 petabytes of memory.
Yeah.
And oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the GDP of a small country.
When we thought the memory crisis was over, then this comes along. No.
So it's interesting that they run these as pods. So when they're talking about the pods, it's a number of chips that they're aggregating together.
Well, the same way NVIDIA GPUs can do that, right?
Yeah, that's right.
They can work together, yep.
Yeah,
you never really think in terms at the scale these guys are operating at. They're never talking about one chip.
No, that's right. And it's sort of it's a huge construct when you look at the 9,600 chips that it's aggregating together in order to train a model, and in order to infer models, you're only using sort of 1,100 or 1,200 chips.
Well, this is the thing, right? If you look at training, like as impressive as that jump is, the inference version of the chip is far more impressive.
Oh, yeah.
The
100%.
improvement that they made, right? So the pod size has gone from 256 to 1,152, right? That's nearly a 5x. The FP8, floating point 8 E-flops per pod, this is staggering, has gone from 1.2 to 11.6.
That's a 10-time increase in exaflops per pod.
Yeah. And that's floating point operations, right? Too. So it's not chump change.
No.
Now the memory bandwidth, right? The total HBM capacity per pod has gone from 49.2 to 331.8. So that's nearly 7 times.
So to put this in perspective, 1 exaflop is 1 quintillion floating point operations per second.
Yeah.
What I was showing is how scalable this is. Is that it's almost a linear improvement in scalability, right? If you've got 1,000 of these, you get a certain level of performance, and 2,000 of them gives you only like 1,500 worth. No, it's pretty close. It's like 99.5% of the efficiency as it goes across.
Yep.
And of course, the bidirectional scale bandwidth is up as well, nearly over 2x to 19.2. So, staggering leap, really.
But if I can, so these obviously they've got them. This is great. They're obviously using them internally. These aren't going to be generally available until later this year.
Mm-hmm.
Ironwood TPUs, the new hotness that was announced at Next last year, are now GA. So you can actually get them now.
Oh, I wonder what the new ones.
you should have a look at the photo of the 4th gen cooling distribution unit for these things. It is just a masterpiece of pipe work.
Yeah. Now that's a manifold.
Yeah, one hell of a manifold. Wowzers.
I'll link that in the show notes. Go have a look. But yeah, TPUs for everyone. And we've got Cloud Run as well. Big changes in Cloud Run. And Ian, you were gushing about this while we were off air. Tell us all about it.
I was gushing a little bit. I love my Cloud Run. It's fantastic. Anything containers, really. Cloud Run's done some really cool stuff. So you can now build full stack apps in AI Studio and single click deploy to Cloud Run. That's now GA. So it's been around for a little bit. Cloud Run's fully managed remote MCP service is now out. So making things easier for developers or agents to deploy code, offering full remote Cloud Run MCP server so you can do what you need to out of whatever IDE you're using. Billing caps. This is huge. So once upon a time, you used to run a container in Cloud Run or in GK Autopilot or wherever, and, it'd just spin up and it'd cost you money, it'd keep costing you money, and you could never cap that off. You could never say, hey, I only want to spend $500 a month.
Didn't we talk about this last fortnight?
We did. We did. So now you can define your maximum spend per month.
Yeah, boys.
Finally.
So you can say, this Cloud Run instance is only allowed to consume $500 a month. And as soon as it hits that $500 limit, it deactivates.
Done.
It's gone.
Yep.
So this is really good for those environments that are cost constrained and can handle outage, right? Because the end result here is it's not available anymore.
Yeah.
Cloud Run integration with Vertex AI's new name, Geep.
Agent platform. Come on, get used to it. It'll be that for about 3 weeks, and then they'll change it.
And then it's going to go back to Vertex AI. Cloud Run instances. So Cloud Run services and jobs was traditionally an opinionated way of running infrastructure. They're now giving us access to the underlying primitive, which means we can mount storage volumes. We can do long-running background agents like OpenClaw. We can add GPUs. You can also sandbox tasks within your code. So there's an example here of what looks like some Node.js code where you can do a sandbox do and run a Python script inside of a sandbox so it doesn't have access to the rest of your code. You can SSH into a Cloud Run instance now. That is huge news.
Oh, very good. Very handy for debugging. Yeah.
Right, instead of just being like, oh, I can't work out what's going, I'm going to put a bunch of print statements in there and then I'm going to push a new instance.
Yep, you can now SSH directly into a running Cloud Run container. So there's a gcloud command for
you
it.
You can
gcloud,
exec in.
Yeah. gcloud run services SSH and then put your service name in there and you're in. And then service binding. So coming soon, they're saying here, unlock seamless service-to-service communication with your scalable microservices architecture with Cloud Run service bindings. You can bind between apps. Now, last two. Ephemeral disk. You can add some just blitz disk to your instance so that you can write to it if you need to. But the really, really big one is support for NVIDIA RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell GPUs on Cloud Run. So you can now actually run models on Cloud Run in GPUs.
Yeah, look, I mean, really good if you've got like variable inferencing, like, you know, you're an org and you want to do inferencing, but, you know, it just shuts down overnight and then it spins up during the day when everyone's doing it and then it shuts down again. Yeah. Or your training run, right? Your training run data might be, I don't know, you cook it for a little while and then you want to shrink it back down. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
So they're quoting here a 70B plus parameter model without having to manage any of the underlying infrastructure, and it scales to 0 when it's not in use.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about doing self-hosted LLM stuff. So, yeah, you definitely could do this, right? You'd be, I want to issue a task off. I want it to spins up the instance, starts consuming that GPU for the amount of time it takes to give me my result.
Yep.
5 seconds, 10 seconds,
shuts
and then go away.
Yeah.
You could have the one agent that does that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So your Paperclip example before, where you've got a CEO and you've got all its minions, you can do all of that in Cloud Run now.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of the time it's spending their idle.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't want to have to run them on hardware.
So there you go. I don't need to see anything else from Next now because I'm happy.
Ian's excited.
Yeah, it's all right. We do love some Cloud Run. So
yeah.
All right. Well, as if we haven't had enough AI stories, let's turn it up to 11 and get on with the AI wars.
It's nice to be in the AI segment finally.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we haven't had enough about AI. And we talked about Mythos last week, and it's now available in preview in Vertex AI, but you still can't have it.
Yeah, Enterprise Agent Platform.
No, in Vertex AI. So.
Oh, yeah, okay. To be fair, this was written before the name was changed.
Yeah, that's right. This is an article from April 8th. Google's got a project called Project Glasswing. It's a select group of Google Cloud customers that are trusted not to do silly things with really dangerous models, and those people can get access to Claude Mythos preview. That's it. That is the article.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, right.
But it is available. And talking about Mythos, AI-boosted attacks with Mythos could have dire consequences for banks. Look, and you know, this is not uncommon. Like this story is reflected everywhere because another podcast I've listened to for a long time, actually the longest running podcast, Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. I don't know if anyone's ever listened to that show. They were discussing the use of AI in biotechnology and the fact it's exactly the same problem. Models like Mythos are so clever that you could just, normal hacks could just say, oh, I want to make a biological weapon.
Anthrax 2.
I want to do some sort of, something in biology, and anyone can do it now, right? you've got the brains available to do it. Same problem in with hackers and the code that we've talked about. Same problem here in banks, right?
Yep.
Like it just opens it up. They've got it can find 0 days in minutes.
And I think banks are a little bit more exposed in this. I mean, we've touched on mainframes before, and I'll go back to a mainframe. They are running code that is ancient on mainframes that are fronted by things that probably aren't quite as ancient. So you've got this modern code in the front and you've got this ancient code in the back, and there's no way that there isn't bugs in that can be exploited.
Yeah. No,
I think the good thing is, though, it's like, yes, you have these tools as a weapon, but it also means that you can have it for pen testing,
Yep.
right? You don't have to organize a pen tester. You can just be like, anytime we do anything, now come and tell us how you would hack us,
Yep.
Mythos, right? Like on this run that we're just this PR that we're about to push in, go and red team it for me.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to have it now. You
Yeah.
have to have an AI, you have an agent interrogating and checking your code before it goes, right?
Well, is this not just, if you think of like what Qualys does, like all these companies will have a Qualys scanning device, and its job is to sit there, scan across your network, look for open ports, see it can do services. What can I find out about all these instances? Is there unpatched vulnerabilities? That's really basic. The next step would just be, okay, I have a Mythos appliance, right? I have something like that sits there, hopefully running on one of those nice ASICs that we discussed from TELUS.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really nice and quick, and it can just dynamically go through, and it sits there every day, polling your environment and seeing what kind of shenanigans it could do if it was inclined.
Yeah, definitely. But AI will never be used in security.
No,
never.
never.
Of course, except Palo Alto are part of Project Glasswing, so obviously
that's
they've
right.
come around.
Obviously they have to. They have to. Anthropic adds compute power with Google Broadcom deal. So Broadcom in the mix again. And Anthropic signed a new agreement with Google and Broadcom to add multiple gigawatts of TPU capacity starting in 2027.
I know they also just signed a deal for 5 gigawatts with AWS as well. So Anthropic are desperate for compute.
Yeah, so they're saying here Anthropic trains and runs Claude Frontier AI models on Google TPUs, NVIDIA GPUs, and AWS Trainium chips. So they're cross cloud platforms.
They're multi-cloud, baby.
They are definitely multi-cloud. Maybe they need Anthos to run it all.
Or they'll run it on anything, basically.
Look at me bringing back the past.
Interesting point this article makes as well. The deal places a spotlight on interconnectivity and signals that AI infrastructure is becoming an industrial supply chain, not just a cloud purchase, right? So you've got this whole supply chain thing happening, and the hardware moving through, and companies like Anthropic consuming it all in the end.
And meanwhile, in this, this word just keeps coming up. IBM has recently announced a collaboration with ARM to build dual architecture hardware supporting their Z series mainframes to run AI workloads. Because you can run AI workloads on a Z series mainframe. They have
slow?
the capability. No, apparently it's lightning quick. Because they've got thousands and thousands of CPUs in there.
Thousands of cores. Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you get charged for your MIPS on it. So you get charged per compute cycle.
Yep. Right. Yeah, interesting. It's just a different way to run it. I mean, you're still doing many things at once, right? The same way that a GPU would work.
Yep.
But just on CPU. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the new models. Because there's only been a few. Opus 4.7. Now, Dave, you're all in on Opus.
I am. I'm using 4.7 now for any of my work. I am cognizant it's a bit of a token hog, right?
Yeah.
So
You got to use that Caveman.
You need Caveman, definitely.
Hey, when Opus president, they see.
Yeah.
They see. So you definitely have to manage your how much effort you're wanting to put into anything. There's a few more sliders now, and they have like an adaptive thinking mode that they've put in there, so it doesn't use deep think all the time. But it's pretty slick. So, I've found that I've been tending to use it a bit more for high level planning, and then maybe I do Sonnet for a bit more coding tasks. But it's still kind of early days for me. But
so that's the same sort of logic that Gemini 3 Flash has got, where it will use deep thinking when it needs to, but if you ask it a simple question, it'll just give you an answer straight away.
Yeah, it'll flick between it, yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely, we've hit the point where it's not just give me the biggest model and give me deep research all the time, and it's you definitely have to manage your allocation.
And just looking at the benchmarks for that, of course, the big benchmark we're all interested in now is the SWE, Software Engineering Benchmark Pro. Opus 4.7 comes in at 64.3, whereas Gemini Pro, 54.2, and Mythos, the big gun, at the moment, 77.8. So it sits somewhere in between the two.
Yeah, but again, Mythos is like 5 times the cost.
Yeah,
if you can get it.
If you can get it, exactly. Yeah.
If you're allowed to use it, but it's 5 times the cost.
Yeah. And of course, GPT 5.5 just landed just before
hours ago.
That's not on here, but it 5.4 is 57.7. Now, I went ahead and prominent AI influencer Matthew Berman, he did a live stream of when it landed, and he's had it for 2 weeks anyway. So he gave us a little rundown here, and I went through and summarised that, and he's basically saying massive leap in token efficiency, which is what we're complaining about now, right? Which is, 5.4 was $30 per million output tokens.
Ouch. That's more expensive than Gemini.
Yeah. So 5.5's really made a big saving there. Much better personality and consciousness. 5.4 would respond rigidly, whereas 5.5's tone is sort of more natural. It's got visual inspection and iteration, so the multimodal capabilities are improved. Now, this next one I find interesting. Seeing around corners in code. He's noted that 5.5 has impressive intuition for production environments. Just making a vague description about something, it's able to go in and then infer what you actually extrapolate out from that what you actually mean. So you don't have to have such massive prompts or such massive specking out of things that we were complaining about earlier in the show. It can figure out what your intention is from minimal prompting.
I suppose, it just needs to have that intuition of like, here's what kind of regular design and architecture patterns generally are. You may not be, best practice, but you're probably something pretty close to this. So maybe you didn't explain the whole thing, but I can make some assumptions about what's probably there.
Yeah. And there's some thinking modes now. You can have extra high, or you can have high standard, high or medium for the thinking modes, and obviously saving the tokens there and making it faster. And there's 2 versions. There's the Codex, specializing in phenomenal autonomous coder, and 5.5 Pro, designed as a hardcore researcher.
Yeah, very nice. So they're actually, OpenAI's tech staff said that GPT 5.5 would have a significant impact on the company's approach to deploying its models towards digital defense. So they're sort of...
Because they don't care about that.
No.
Digital. I thought you meant IRL defense.
No, digital defense. So yeah,
they can power the kill bots with their model. They don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Righto. And finally, just to round the show out, we have AI ruling prompts warning from US lawyers. Your chats could be used against you. And this dovetails into the whole Subnautica 2 drama. And I've got a bit of a sense of where we're going to go with this, Dave, but can you fill us in?
Yeah, okay. So there's a game called Subnautica. It was for a long time. It was like a pre-release game, and it took a long time. Like they sold a lot during the pre-release period, early access sort of thing, and then it's a well beloved game. Anyway, so people were very excited when the sequel was announced. It's due to happen. They've been on the cards for a couple of years now, right?
GTA 6, but anyway.
That'll never happen. But the studio that was producing it got acquired. It was sort of picked up during the sort of video game acquisition boom that happened during COVID. And they got picked up for a lot of dosh. It was like a whole lot of money. I can't remember the 250 million, 500 million. It was a lot of money. And written into their agreement was if Subnautica 2 can go pre-release on Steam and come out by a certain date, go pre-release on a certain date and hit certain financial goals, then the owners and people who are running it would get like $250 million as a bonus. Right, big bickies. Yep. Anyway, the publisher that had purchased them didn't really want to do that. They had modeling that like, oh yeah, if this comes out, they're likely going to hit those targets. We're going to have to pay. So the CEO spent a bit of time with ChatGPT asking about how to get out of this contract. Didn't take other legal advice. Right, just work with ChatGPT, and there was a whole bunch of dramas. They like tried to fire the CEOs. They tried to say like, no, you guys can't. You're not allowed to release on Steam by this date. They were trying to sandbag the whole thing. Anyway, went through court. All of those like ChatGPT chats, all are admissible evidence.
Yep. Yeah. You've got no inconfidence. There's no. Yeah. It's not like talking to a lawyer. Right.
Yeah, so they're saying in this article here that because the defence lawyers aren't directly involved, there is no attorney-client privilege.
Yeah, so it's just the same as if it's in your email or anything like that. Once it's open to discovery, it's carte blanche.
It's all fair game. Yep.
Yeah. So big dramas, but anyway, it was ruled against, and the original devs are back in charge, and it's going up on early access.
Steam, so we're going to make it early access and get their payout.
Nice. So
get wet.
In the US, there's two different rulings on this. So in Manhattan, a US district judge ruled that the Claude chats that this particular CEO had were to be handed over in the case. But in a different jurisdiction, there in Michigan, a woman that was representing herself in a lawsuit didn't have to do it. So because she's representing herself, and so those chats are then considered her privileged information.
It's like legal research
within herself, right? Yeah. Okay, privileged. Yeah. Okay, interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Right. And you know,
it's a context thing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And it's good to hear a game dev, a good game dev story, because game devs usually get screwed. Yeah. That's usually what we're hearing about game devs. All right. Well, that's it.
That was one hell of a show.
I am tapped out after that, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I need another coffee.
And we're recording on Friday as well. I have to go and edit now. But anyway, I'm tapped out. That was exhausting. There's a lot going on. There's going to be a lot more in the next episode as well, because we've got all the next stuff we're going to have to catch up with. But look, guys, it has been a fun show. I mean, we didn't do too bad considering we didn't have any articles. Don't forget, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Music. Yeah, you can use either one. That's fine. Go to Apple Podcasts, write us to really, really help the show out, and go to YouTube, start the discussion there. And while you're there, smash that like button. Contact the show, contact@gcpbytes.com.au. Find us on the web, www.gcpbytes.com.au. And today's sponsors were Hive Tech Solutions, Technofix Consulting, and Mantle Group. That's about it from us. I think we've all said our piece, haven't we, guys?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
And we're done. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Banky. I had a nice little audio upgrade for me, though.
Yeah, is that a new boom I see you've got there? And
No. Nothing about the audio. The biggest upgrade?
chair.
No more squeaky chair.
Man, I have to edit that thing. I edited it a lot, and it's
over there now. It's in the corner. No more squeaky chair.
It's the naughty chair now.
Yeah. Is that a secret lab?
Yeah.
Got to have your secret lab. Your KDR is going to be through the roof now.
Yeah. Well, I've gone for these are very subtle and tasteful ones. I've got my Witcher ones at home.
Oh, okay.
This is just black on black.
Yeah, nice.
What ones are they, Dave?
Secret lab.
Yeah. What model of chair?
Oh, Titan XL.
Ah, right. Okay.
The big one, the big boy.
Yeah, so I can do this.
Yeah.
Cross-legged, baby.